The Nigerian Air Force has once again carried out a carefully planned air operation deep inside Borno State. And this particular action has drawn serious attention because of where it happened and what it represents in the wider security situation of the country. The strike targeted a known terrorist gathering point at Abbaga Jiri, inside the Timbuktu Triangle, an area that has for years remained one of the most difficult and dangerous zones in the northeast. This was not an accidental strike, and it was not a routine patrol. According to the official account, it was a deliberate, intelligence-driven mission designed to weaken terrorist strength, remove their sense of safety, and make it easier for ground troops to operate effectively. What makes this operation important is the message it sends. The Air Force is saying clearly that there is no longer any place where terrorists can comfortably gather, plan, or rest without being detected. The operation was carried out under Operation HADIN KAI, which is the joint military effort coordinating air and ground forces in the northeast. The Air Force leadership explained that every stage of the mission followed established rules of engagement, with strong emphasis on protecting civilians and avoiding unnecessary harm. This is very important, because in conflicts like this, the safety of innocent people is always a major concern. Now, let us slow this down and understand what is really going on. The Timbuktu Triangle is not just another location on the map. It is a remote and rugged area that has been used by terrorist groups as a hideout, a meeting point, and sometimes even a training ground. Because of the difficult terrain, militants have believed for a long time that they could hide there and operate with limited interference. This recent strike shows that the military is actively working to change that thinking. The Air Force is making it clear that no area is beyond reach when credible intelligence is available. As the Air Force spokesperson explained, the goal of the mission was to degrade terrorist capability. In simple terms, this means reducing their ability to fight, plan attacks, move weapons, and coordinate operations. When such enclaves are hit, it disrupts communication, damages morale, and forces surviving fighters to scatter. This creates pressure and confusion within their ranks. At the same time, it denies them sanctuary, meaning they can no longer feel safe gathering openly in that area. This kind of pressure is critical in counter-terrorism operations. While all of this is happening, it is important for viewers like you to understand that these operations are part of a larger, ongoing effort. The fight against terrorism in the Northeast has not ended, and it is not something that will be resolved overnight. However, actions like this show that the military is maintaining constant pressure. If you are finding this breakdown helpful so far, please like this video and subscribe to the channel so you do not miss future updates. Your support really helps us bring these stories to you. The Chief of the Air Staff also spoke on the operation, stating that the success of the mission reflects the determination of the Nigerian Air Force to dominate the airspace in support of joint operations. What this means in practical terms is that air power is being used not just for show, but as a strategic tool to support soldiers on the ground. When air operations are well coordinated with ground forces, they can reduce risks to troops, weaken enemy positions, and improve the chances of success during land operations. Another key point that was emphasized is that these air operations will remain relentless and intelligence-driven. This is a very strong statement. It tells us that the Air Force is relying heavily on surveillance, reconnaissance, and information gathering before acting. This approach reduces guesswork and increases precision. It also shows that the military is adapting its tactics based on lessons learned over time. Counterterrorism today is not just about firepower, it is about information, timing, and coordination. For ordinary Nigerians watching this story, the immediate question is always the same: how does this affect daily life and security? The answer is that every successful operation against terrorist groups reduces their capacity to carry out attacks on communities, roads, markets, and security personnel. Even though threats still exist, sustained pressure can limit their reach and influence. It also sends a signal to local communities that the government is actively working to restore peace and stability. At the same time, it is important to remain realistic. Terrorist groups often adapt when they are under pressure. When one area becomes unsafe, they may try to move to another location or change tactics. This is why continuous operations and constant intelligence gathering are necessary. Security is not a one-time achievement. It is a process that requires consistency and patience. As we continue this discussion, remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you want clear, simple, and professional explanations of what is happening around the country. It really makes a difference. Another aspect of this operation that deserves attention is the emphasis on protecting non-combatants. In modern conflicts, civilian protection is not just a moral responsibility. It is also a strategic necessity. When civilians are protected, trust is maintained, and it becomes easier to gather intelligence and cooperation from local communities. The Air Force has repeatedly stated that it follows strict rules of engagement, and this operation was no exception. This approach also helps counter misinformation. In situations like this, false narratives can spread quickly, especially on social media. Clear communication from official sources helps to clarify what happened and why. It also helps the public understand the objectives of the operation and the care taken to avoid harm to innocent people. From a broader perspective, the operation at Abbaga Jiri fits into a pattern of increased air activity aimed at weakening terrorist networks across the region. By targeting enclaves, meeting points, and logistics hubs, the military is attempting to dismantle the structures that allow these groups to function. When these structures are disrupted repeatedly, it becomes harder for them to regroup and plan large-scale actions. If you are still following closely, please remember to like this video and subscribe. It helps us keep bringing you well-explained updates like this. Now, let us talk about what this means for the future. Continued air operations suggest that the military is committed to sustaining pressure rather than reacting only after attacks occur. Proactive actions can change the balance over time. However, success also depends on what happens after such strikes. Ground forces must be able to secure areas, protect communities, and prevent militants from returning. This is why coordination between air and ground units is so important. Public confidence also plays a role. When people see consistent efforts and clear communication, it strengthens trust in institutions. This does not mean ignoring challenges or pretending everything is perfect. It means acknowledging progress while recognizing that work still needs to be done. As this story continues to develop, one thing is clear. The Nigerian Air Force is positioning itself as a central force in the ongoing security effort, using precision, intelligence, and coordination to address a long-standing threat. The operation at Abbaga Jiri is one piece of a much larger picture, but it is an important one. If you want me to continue this gist in the same clear and engaging way, please let me know if I should continue. As news of the attack spread, fear and anger spread with it. People began to ask serious questions. How did armed men get so close to that area? How long have they been hiding in those forests? Are these criminals operating alone, or are they part of a larger network moving across states? These were the same questions many families living near forest communities were asking quietly in their homes. This is why this story matters so much, and why you should please like this video and subscribe to the channel, because stories like this affect real lives and deserve serious attention. What followed after the attack was a period of intense security activity. The state government, working with security agencies, immediately began coordinated efforts to track down those responsible. Patrols were increased, intelligence sharing was strengthened, and attention turned fully to the forest routes that criminals often use to hide and move around. This was not just about arresting people, it was about sending a message that such violence would not be ignored. Then came the update that many people had been waiting for. The regional security outfit, Amotekun, confirmed that suspects connected to the killing of the 5 forest guards had been arrested. This development changed the entire mood of the story. For many residents, it brought a sense of relief. For others, it raised even more questions. Who exactly are these suspects? How long have they been operating in the forest? And most importantly, will this arrest finally reduce attacks in that area? It is important to understand why this arrest is being taken very seriously. In recent years, forests have increasingly become hiding places for criminal groups. These areas are difficult to patrol. They stretch across state borders, and they allow criminals to move quietly without being noticed. When an attack like this happens, it is rarely random. It usually means that the attackers know the terrain well and feel confident enough to strike. This is why the killing of forest guards was seen as a dangerous sign, and why the arrest of suspects is being seen as a major step forward. Please remember to like this video and subscribe if you are finding this breakdown helpful, because staying informed helps everyone stay safer. As more details emerged, it became clear that this was not just about one night or one location. Security experts have been warning that criminal activities in forest regions are becoming more organized. Some groups take advantage of the long stretches of land where there is little human presence. Others rely on fear to silence communities, making it harder for people to speak up or report suspicious movements. When forest guards are targeted, it creates fear not only among security workers, but also among nearby villagers who depend on those forests for their daily lives. The state government reacted strongly, assuring residents that security would be tightened and that no area would be left unprotected. Officials emphasized cooperation between different security agencies, including local intelligence sources. This cooperation is very important because no single agency can handle forest insecurity alone. It requires shared information, constant monitoring, and community trust. Without trust, people are afraid to talk. Without information, criminals move freely. For the families of the 5 forest guards, however, the pain remains deep. Arrests do not bring back loved ones. What they want most is justice and assurance that others will not suffer the same fate. Many Nigerians watching this story felt that pain too, because it reflects a broader national issue. People who go out to protect others deserve to come home safely. This incident has also reopened conversations about resources. Are forest guards properly equipped? Do they have enough support? Are there enough patrol teams to cover such large areas? These are questions that citizens, analysts, and policymakers continue to discuss. And these discussions matter because they shape future decisions. If you agree that security personnel deserve better protection, please like this video and subscribe so this conversation can reach more people. As investigations continue, security operations in the region remain active. Communities have been advised to remain calm but alert, to avoid unnecessary movement near forest areas at night, and to report any unusual activity. This advice is not meant to create fear, but awareness. Awareness saves lives. What makes this story especially important is that it shows both the danger and the response. On one hand, it reveals how bold and violent criminals can be. On the other hand, it shows that with proper coordination and determination, suspects can be tracked and arrested. This balance is what many Nigerians want to see more often. The arrest by Amotekun has also renewed public discussion about regional security efforts. Many people believe that local security outfits understand their terrain better and can respond faster. Others argue that they need more support and training to handle increasingly complex threats. These opinions vary, but one thing is clear. Security works best when everyone plays their part. As we follow this story, more updates are expected. Court proceedings, further investigations, and possible additional arrests may still come. The situation is evolving, and staying informed is very important.